Good morning all, it's the Fixed Wing channel and welcome. My name's Stuart Lomas. Third video in the hopefully fairly successful channel, but who knows. And just thought I'd drop you a quick line on YouTube if you've got nothing better to do but to watch. So here we are in Manchester. It's a Monday morning, and as you won't be surprised here in Manchester, yes, it's raining. God, it's awful. As I alluded to in the last video, I'm going to be covering lots and lots of things on this channel, but hopefully mostly we're going to be talking about watches. One of my passions, not a watch snob as I did say in the last video. I'm not one that goes for exclusive brands and don't dictate to others what they should buy. But what I want to talk to you about today is my first watch purchase. I did touch on this very briefly. This was back in the late 1970s. I think it was 1978, 79 at a push. I'd left school in 1977. Most of my friends had gone into traditional industries here in Manchester where I live, which was things like heavy engineering and manufacture. I'd taken a slightly different route and went down to the very, very tasking jobs of driving a desk. I'd ended up in a job which I didn't know existed, which was an organisation which were called a freight forwarder. I have no idea what that was at the time, but basically what they did, they imported and exported goods from many organisations around the world into the UK and back out of the UK to other countries, whether that be in Europe or indeed worldwide. Within a couple of years I did quite well and became the sole import agent for two of the largest companies in the world at that time. Massey Ferguson, who made very famous for tractors, and a company based in the US called Ingersoll Rand, who were very, very, very famous indeed for compressors, which you see on construction sites all over the world. When I joined my first freight forwarding company, most of my friends, God bless them, being school leavers at 16, we were all from the back streets of Manchester where all we were expected to be were factory fodder. And most of my friends, God love them, ended up in factories, and they were all earning 15, maybe 16 pounds a week. I know, you're wondering, well, wish I could have got that kind of money. I went in and being a little bit of a brass neck kind of character, and if anybody's watching this from abroad and doesn't know what that means, having a brass neck means you're cheeky. And you're willing to ask for things which really you shouldn't be asking for, but hey, that's me. I asked for £25 a week. £25, can you believe it? So funnily enough, my first freight forwarding employer agreed, so I got my £25 a week. So eventually I was £10 a week better off than most of my peers. Now, once I had that enormous sum of money in my pocket, I used to, at those days, use public transport. And I walked past a jeweller's every day. And it's a jeweller's that's been established in Manchester here since early in the 20th century. A lovely, lovely old-fashioned jeweller's. It's still there. It looks the same now as it did in 1925, and it's wonderful. And you go in and they've got the old-fashioned security safes built into the walls. You would swear that it is still 1925. And in the corner window was a big promotional setup for Seiko. And right in the middle was this watch, and I caught it out of the corner of my eye because it was a very, very unusual colour at the time. Most watches in the 70s were fairly bland. You either had a black dial, a silver dial, or a white dial, if you were lucky. Nothing more than that generally, and function wise all you had was a chronometer, again if you were lucky. This thing was a great chronometer. It was a chronograph, and it was yellow. It was yellow. And this thing cried out to me that, God, mate, I would look good on your wrist. I know you're earning 25 quid a week and you can afford it. Now, when it was saying to me that I could afford it, let me tell you how I could afford it. This watch was £78. 78, oh yes. So what you're looking there, I was paid monthly, and this watch was nearly, you know, well, it was over 2/3 of my salary. Now, like most kids at that time, I was living with my parents, so my living expenses were, well, let's face it, zero. You know, I was still a kid, but hey. So after walking past this jeweller's night after night, morning after morning, week after week, and this watch is saying, come on, come on, you know you want to do it, you know you want to do it. I went in and I had a look at it. Needless to say, I bought it. That's what we do, isn't it? We watch people think, well, you know, it's something I love, and it's something that's calling out to me, and I want it. And to prove that I bought it, here it is. There she is. Now, you bear in mind that I've owned this watch since 1978. It's never had anything done. Never. I've had it serviced, but I've only had it serviced in the last 3 years, and it's never missed a beat. Never. The crystal is beautiful. There are 1 or 2 little scratches, but what would you expect? The bracelet I've buffed out myself. As I've got older, the bracelet has got a little bit tighter. I wonder why that is. Funny how stainless steel shrinks over the years, but you know, one of those things. The case back still has all visible engravings on of the watch that it is, and it keeps lovely time. It lives on my desk in a twin winder with my Rolex GMT Master 1. Both of these will never leave my person. I'm hoping that this will be passed down to the children, and they will pass it down to their children. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Apparently, and I didn't know this till I did a little bit of research, this is called the Pogue Pepsi chronograph. Obviously because of the Pepsi dial, the blue and the red. It was made between 1971 and 1983, so when I bought it in 78, I was bang in the middle there. Now apparently, in the early ones, they, like a lot of people, indeed like my Rolex, had an acrylic crystal. This is a mineral crystal. It's probably an early version of Seiko's Hardlex, I would say. I don't know, but it may well be. And apparently it was called the Pogue Pepsi chronograph. Now, why Pogue Pepsi chronograph? Well, apparently the word Pogue comes from a colonel, a US Air Force colonel, a Colonel William Pogue, who was one of the astronauts on a 1970 mission to Mars during the Apollo program. And he apparently fell in love with this watch and decided to find out on behalf of Seiko what it would do in zero gravity. And apparently in zero gravity it performs exactly the same way as it's performed in Earth gravity. It didn't miss a beat. And because he took it to the moon, because it didn't miss a beat, it was given his name. And I think that's quite nice. Now, is that as good as the Omega Men in the Moon? I don't know. I don't know. But I must say, it's quite nice to have the legacy that somebody, some company, has named a watch after you. And I think that's great. I really do. So, this is the watch that bankrupted me. Now, at the time, it hurt. And I don't want to sound like Archie Luxury, but it did hurt. Fortunately, as I said, living expenses were very low, so it wasn't a real problem. It is a watch that will never leave my side. It's a watch that I love. I love wearing it, and I still, after all these years, get lots and lots of comments, because let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's another watch on the market, even now, with that colour dial, or anything like that colour dial. And I love it to bits. The loom still works, the day date still works. A day date, not just a date, a day date. Fantastic. The day date is in French and English. It moves like a charm. It has on the crown, you push it and it's a quick set day date. In 1978, for £78, I got a quick set day date. Now, at that point in time, was there only Rolex doing a quick set? Tell me, let me know. But I love it. I think it's one of the most wonderful, delightful, personal, money-draining objects that I've ever bought. Let me know what you think. I think it's lovely. It won't suit everybody. Perhaps it's not as conservative as some people would like, but it was the yellow that caught my eye. I think it's smashing. There's more to come. Hopefully you'll keep finding it of interest. This will stay with me forever. It is a treasure. It's one of my foundation pieces. I will have a chat to you another day about my Rolex, but for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Put any comments down below, and if you've got any questions, down below. If you want to make me a silly offer for this, then by all means, but I'm never going to take the money. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.